Chloroquine and sulfonamides. Lecture 4. Related to chloroquine, first drug that was discovered, that is nalidixic acid, on 1962. Later on chloroquine was developed while adding fluorine atom to nalidixic acid. That's how they evolved and developed. Usually in drug development, often molecular structure is very much important. With that, scientists often do molecular alterations and add in different molecules and see the activity. That's how they evolve. Usually, earlier quinolones are useful only for treatment of urine tract infection. Nowadays, it is in bactericidal levels and blood. They absorb well in blood and tissue, so they have improved bactericidal antibacterial spectrum, mainly following fluorination, adding the fluorine atom. Mechanism of action: fluoroquinolone are bactericidal agent. They mainly block bacterial DNA synthesis by inhibiting bacterial DNA gyrase and topoisomerase enzymes. Okay, DNA gyrase in gram negatives and topoisomerases in gram positives. So inhibition of DNA gyrase prevents the relaxation of positively supercoiled DNA that is required for normal transcription and replication. So supercoiling is relaxed. So now they won't go for transcription and translation. So once topoisomerases are inhibited, they interfere with the separation of replicated chromosomal DNA into the respective daughter cells during cell division. So they can enter cells easily via porins and are used to treat intracellular pathogens like Legionella, Pneumophila, and Mycoplasma. That is about the fluoroquinolones. Resistance is due to one or more potent mutations in the quinolone binding regions of the target enzyme. That's how resistance develops. Or else it can develop change following the permeability of the organism. That is, entry will be minimized. Or resistant to one fluoroquinolone confers overall cross-resistant to all members of the class. So classes, when we consider first generation, that is nalidixic acid, common one. Second generation, ciprofloxacin, even norfloxacin are there. Third generation, levofloxacin, common one. We have used moxifloxacin, cefixoxilin, gatifloxacin, like now respiratory quinolones data, including levofloxacin. And travofloxacin also there. So that's in the fourth generation. It is not available in our country. When we consider about the pharmacokinetics of fluoroquinolones, they will absorb orally with bioavailability almost equal to parenteral form, that is around 80 to 95%. Half-life range from 3 to 10 hours. Oral absorption often impaired by divalent cations like antacids containing magnesium, calcium, or albumin. Most of fluoroquinolones eliminated by renal mechanism. So adjusted dose is required in patients when creatinine clearance is less than 50 milliliter per minute, low GFR. So other drawback is it's a low limited CSF penetration. About distribution, often concentration in the tissue is higher compared to serum in prostate tissues, in stool, bile, lung, kidneys, neutrophils, macrophages, while in the prostatic fluid, bone, and CSF, concentration is lower compared to serum. It implies that poor penetration. When we consider drug interaction, there are a few, like with new NSAIDs, theopenins, corticosteroids, likewise warfarin, caffeine. There are indications: urine tract infection and prostatitis. Even then, sexually transmitted diseases. And gastrointestinal and abdominal infections, including traveler's diarrhea, cholera, enteric fever, shigellosis. But nowadays, ciprofloxacin resistance has emerged. Respiratory tract infection, we often use third and fourth generations. Very effective again. Streptococcus pneumoniae, Haemophilus simplex, influenza, and Moraxella catarrhalis. And also Pseudomonas against in patients in cystic fibrosis. Bone and joint, we often use prolonged antibiotics, often for the osteomyelitis, diabetic foot, and also multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. Levofloxacin we use prophylactic in patients with neutropenics. We often use ciprofloxacin. Adverse effects, generally it's a safe antibiotic, but there are like GIT side effects, nausea, vomiting, and also antibiotic associated colitis, then central nervous system related confusion, insomnia, dizziness, anxiety, and seizures. There. Cardiovascular system, torsades points, prolonged QT interval, and also there are effects on cartilage, results in arthropathy. That's why often pediatricians reluctant to use in children. Tendonitis and tendon rupture is rare but very serious condition. Podotoxicity, avoid excessive sun exposure. That's one. Then leukopenia, eosinophilia, likewise. Then mild elevation in transaminases also there, but those are rare complications of. About the contraindications, that's the thing I mentioned earlier about the children. Then pregnancy, lactation, epilepsy, and patients with QT interval prolongations often contraindicated. We'll discuss a bit about ciprofloxacin. It's a second generation fluoroquinolone, mainly effective against gram-negative bacteria and also intracellular pathogens, not effective against gram-positives and anaerobes, but ciprofloxacin we use for MRSA even if it is susceptible. So clinical use, there are a lot. Urinary infections, osteomyelitis, not only due to pseudomonas, even with the MRSA, Staph aureus, gonorrhea, traveler's diarrhea, even tuberculosis, we use proselytis, comitatic pneumonia, likewise. Usually it depends based on, okay, available forms there are, then there are brand names. Levofloxacins, third generation fluoroquinolone spectrum, it's a broad spectrum compared to second generations, gram positive, negatives, even mycobacteria, tuberculosis, mycobacterium tuberculosis. Indications, chronic bronchitis and comitatic pneumonia, even nosocomial intra-abdominal infection we often use. About adverse reactions, there's blood glucose disturbance in patients with diabetes and QT prolongation, nausea, GI upsets, interstitial nephritis are recorded. That's we'll go for the sulfonamide, another drug which involved in DNA synthesis or folic acid synthesis. It's a bit of history. First antimicrobial agent effective against pyogenic bacterial infections and prostacil rate. So it was in dye used to treat experimental streptococcus infection in mice. Later, it was introduced to Staphylococcus septicemias. So just read about this. Then nowadays, use is less due to rapid emergence of when we use sulfonamide alone. Emergence of antimicrobial resistance is high. Availability of safe and more effective drugs are there, so it is less use. But due to emergence of melioidosis, due for the eradication therapy, we often use cotrimoxazole, not sulfonamide alone. Contain cotrimoxazole, that is trimethoprim and sulfonamide. So that's a combined drug. So we'll discuss later on about this. About the sulfonamide alone, it is bacteriostatic. What I said, and also it is combined with pyrimethamine, So sulfonamide with pyrimethamine, so it is effective against for malaria, even for the toxoplasmosis. But our main concern about cotrimoxazole, it is available in our country. So about structure about sulfonamides, it contains key amino benzene ring, that is term. And N1 substitution, as I said in the beginning of the lecture, so it leads to increased solubility, potency, and pharmacokinetic properties can be different in the introduction of different side chains. N4 free amino group, is required for antibacterial activity. Okay, that's the structure. So you can see, I think structural analog with para-amino benzoic acid. So it's in the folic acid synthesis. So almost similar like structural analog. Classification, we can classify them as short-acting, intermediate, long-acting, or so special purpose. So sulfadiazine is a short-acting, sulfamethoxazole is an intermediate. Orally absorbable short-acting like sulfadiazines. Orally non-absorbable sulfasalazine, where we use for silver sulfadiazine. Those things we use for topical as a topical agent for the burn patient. So mechanism of action broadly put sulfonamides into inhibit nucleic acid synthesis. But specifically, we say sulfonamides inhibit the synthesis of folic acid in bacterial organisms. Again, you can recall this. Folic acid is essential for growth of bacteria as it is crucial for nucleic acid synthesis. Many bacteria synthesize their own folic acid from para-aminobenzoic acid. So sulfonamides are structural analogs of PABA, what I shown earlier. Enter the sequence in place of PABA. Sulfonamides compete for enzymes dihydroteroic acid synthesis to create a non-functional analog of folic acid. So growth is arrested. So human, they take from diet. So hence sulfonamides are selectively toxic to the bacteria only. But pharmacokinetic absorption rapidly and well absorbed oral. Distribution widely distributed in the body. Process blood-brain barrier and placenta. Accumulates in prostatic fluid. So having a prolonged plasma binding differ. Long-acting agents are highly protein-bound. So that's how their protein T-half differs. About the metabolism, that's acetylation in the liver mainly. Acetylated metabolites are inactive but still contribute to side effects. Less soluble in acidic urine. So leads to precipitation of crystalline urea, leads to renal toxin in acidic urine. Excretion, kidney by glomerular filtration. More lipid-soluble agents are highly reabsorbed, having a long activity. Spectrum, when we consider primary bacteriostatic, bactericidal concentration can be attained in urine. So it's good for urine tract infection following E. coli. Effective against gram-positive plus gram-negative. It's a broad spectrum. Sensitive organisms, I would say, but based on antimicrobial susceptibility, it may vary. So resistant mechanisms due to mutations causing overproduction of PABA, para-aminobenzoic acid, altered nature of dihydroteroic acid synthesis. Then loss of permeability. Then appearance of an alternative pathways. Clinical use, orally absorbable drug, acute uncomplicated UTI we can use. Apart from that, we use nocardosis, actinomycosis, schwannoid, painful variety, the genital ulcers, lipogranuloma, painless variety. Then non-absorbable drugs orally. We have drugs for ulcerative colitis. That is often not as an antibiotic we use because it's an anti-inflammatory properties. Also used for the rheumatoid arthritis. Topical agents like sodium sulfacetamide. It's for the ophthalmic, like trachoma, bacterial conjunctivitis we often use. Apart from that, silver sulfadiazine. It is less toxic, preferred over mefenide. Slowly release silver ions, leading to additional antimicrobial action by presence of silver plus sulfur dioxide. Often we use for prophylactic for infections in the burns. Also, it is active against Pseudomonas. So, burn patients more prone to develop Pseudomonas infection because it is a hospital-acquired pathogen. When we consider about the adverse effects, what I said earlier about the crystalluria leads to renal toxicity. So once we do the urine alkalinization, it may reduce. Apart from that, we have to take more fluid. Hypersensitive reactions, mucocutaneous junctions, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, eosinophilia, drug fever. So type 4 hypersensitivity, likewise, is there. Hemolysis also there in patients with G6PD deficiency. Apart from that, neutropenia, granulocytosis, thrombocytopenia like pancytopenia can occur. Kernicterus in neonates, it's another entity, can precipitate it, especially in premature infants, since their blood-brain barrier is not fully developed. So sulfonamides displaces bilirubin from protein-binding site. Bilirubin process, then bilirubin, once it is preformed, they passes through the blood-brain barrier and deposits in basal ganglia and subthalamic nucleus leading to kernicterus. Apart from that, hepatitis, nausea, vomiting are there. Bit about cotrimoxazole. It was introduced in 1969. It is rational fixed drug dose combination, that is sulfamethoxazole with trimethoprim. So this combination is bactericidal. Along it is bacteriostatic. Trimethoprim related to anti-malarial perhaps. Mode of action inhibit bacterial dihydrofolate reductase. Bacteriostatic. Sulfamethoxazole intermediate acting PABA structural analog. Mode of action, that is inhibits folate synthase. Bacteriostatic. So often human folate metabolism is not interfered with both. Pharmacokinetics about trimethoprim, more readily absorb, distribute 40% in the plasma, bound metabolism partially metabolized in the liver, excreted in urine. Rapidly absorbed, that is sulfamethoxazole in oral. 65% plasma protein bound, compared to here it's more. Acetylation in the liver. Renal excretion by glomerular filtration. That's how it goes. Both compounds have a similar half-life, around 10 hours. Two bacteriostatic drugs produce bactericidal action when combined. The combination had a wider antibacterial spectrum. Apart from that, the combination reduced the emergence of antimicrobial resistance. What we said earlier. You can see how sulfamethoxazole, how trimethoprim act. Spectrum. All organisms sensitive for sulfonamides, often. Resistance to trimethoprim is mostly through plasmid-mediated acquisition of dihydropteroid folic reductase, dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. Resistance to the combination is slow to develop compared to drug alone, what I said earlier. Nowadays, still it's used, but as I said earlier, it uses increased following emergence of melioidosis. Apart from that, we use acute cystitis, prostatitis, urinary infections, respiratory tract infection. We use then bacterial diarrhea, dysentery, specifically for pneumocystis jirovecii. Pneumonia and neutropenic AIDS patient we often use. Then S for the STD, it's what I mentioned earlier, it's used. Then nocardosis, typhoid, actinomycosis, melioidosis is what we have to know. IV cotrimoxazole is not available in Sri Lanka. All the adverse effects seen with sulfonamides can be seen with cotrimoxazole, almost similar. Contraindication should avoid in pregnancy because it is antifoliate drug, leads to theoretical teratogenic risk is there. Urinary and renal diseases. Greater risk in bone marrow toxicity in elderly. Then fever, rash, and bone marrow hypoplasia among AIDS patients with pneumocystis jirovecii infections. Interactions often with the diuretics leads to thrombocytopenia. There are recent advances like lactoprin. Even well, we can't say recent, it is around 2008. So compared to trimethoprim analog, it's more effective and better tolerated than trimethoprim. And equally effective as linezolid in MRSA and for the VRSA as well. There's a phase 3 trial to administer, checking about the administration orally. But still, at present, results are not such compared to trimethoprim. But sulfadoxine and pyrimethamine. It is again the fixed drug combination, synergistic effect, have ultra long plasma half-life, acts faster in combination, curative for chloroquine-resistant falciparum, malaria, and toxoplasmosis. Mechanism is sequential blocking protozoal folic acid synthesis. Serious cutaneous reactions have been reported. Thank you.